Welcome to Top Tier Wrestling, your ultimate destination for all things AEW and WWE. Whether you're a hardcore wrestling fanatic or just a casual viewer, we've got you covered with the latest news, in-depth show reviews, and our unfiltered opinions on everything happening in the world of professional wrestling. Join us as we dive into the high-octane action, dramatic storylines, and backstage buzz of AEW and WWE. Get ready to step into the ring with us and stay on top of the wrestling world. This is Top Tier Wrestling. Welcome, one and all, to this edition of the Top Tier Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Dynamite Don Page. Joined as always by my fantastic co-host, freshly squeezed Josh Cassidy. Leave me alone. Tonight we're covering the go home episode of Friday Night SmackDown for November 29th. And let me tell you folks, Turkey slowed no one down on tonight's show. So let's get into it.
All right. Yeah, this is our Thanksgiving episode. So
Yeah.
happy Thanksgiving to everybody who's listening.
Happy Thanksgiving. My brain is still full of Thanksgiving food and goodness because, I'm trying to say Dynamite Don Page and my brain was like, nope.
Ring general. No. All right. Well, on this episode of SmackDown, they start us off making sure that we're well aware that War Games is happening tomorrow, right? Saturday?
Yeah,
I think
for
so.
sure.
It's this weekend for sure. That much I do know. And they start by having each and every member of Team Ripley receive their entrances and come to the ring. And man, they are looking like a superhero team, these gals.
They are. All wearing pants. So I was like, is it going down?
Right. Like I thought, like sometimes when you spot wrestlers wearing pants and they don't usually, that's a sign that they're about to have a hardcore match.
Right.
And I was like, what's going on? But no, I mean, everybody was just dressed to kick ass. Everybody looked good. And last but not least to the ring was, of course, Rhea Ripley herself. And in case all of y'all aren't aware, it's her brutality. So Rhea takes the center of the ring and grabs a mic. And she says, I know it's obvious. Not everyone on this team are the best of friends, but honestly, none of that matters because tomorrow night we all step into one of the most dangerous matches here in the WWE, War Games. And we have someone that we want to get our hands on. Or rather, we all have someone we want to get our hands on. Giggity.
I knew you were going to do it.
And she says, so tomorrow night, this all ends. And she says, when we step into that steel cage, no one's going to be able to stop us from absolutely brutalizing those women. And she says, I mean, think about it, guys. Think about it for a second. I think about everything that they've done to us. Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, Candice LeRae. I noticed that she stalled a little on Candice LeRae because, like, nobody cares about Candice LeRae being in this thing. But Naomi chimes in and says, that's right, Big Mama. And this was pretty good because I think Rhea Ripley wasn't expecting it, and she was having a hard time continuing to look menacing while she was trying not to laugh because Naomi broke her.
Yeah.
And Naomi goes on to say, because Nia Jax and her little lapdogs are going to get everything that they deserve and then some, because they have been nothing but a pain in me and Bailey's side. And I promise y'all, not only will the glow be felt, it's going to be dealt.
She going to deal the glow.
She's dissing out that glow light.
What does that mean exactly? Like, does she mean she's gonna light them up? I think she means she's gonna light them up.
I think she means you're gonna light them up.
I
and they're
think that's what
definitely
she
gonna
means.
see it coming. Then Bianca Belair chimes in and says, yep, because Naomi, you and I both know that one of them took our girl, Jade Cargill, out last week. Now, I don't know which one it was, so tomorrow night, all 5 of them can get it. And it's interesting, you pointed this out while we were watching, that
Yeah.
Bailey sort of turned away from the camera. It's like, Bailey got that guilty conscience.
What you doing over there, Barbie?
And let's see. Then Rhea Ripley says, Liv Morgan, you are going to wish that you never met me.
I'm pretty sure she already.
And then Io Sky chimed in and says, we will destroy you. And that's when Liv Morgan and her team came out.
Yeah, but the way they were dressed, though, let me know that there was no like hardcore match or nothing happening. Nobody was about to go hard in the paint because they were dressed like normal. You know, take that for what you will.
Yep. Liv Morgan in booty shorts and like a vest.
Yeah. Tiffany Stratton in like a onesie.
Nia Jackson like a bodysuit. I don't know. The only one of them whose outfit we noticed was that you pointed out that Raquel with like the leather pants and shirt she was wearing actually looked pretty good.
Yeah, she looked good. She did. I ain't hating. No hate.
And so as they're making their way towards the ring, because they're damn sure not getting in the ring, Liv says, it's funny. It's so funny how confident you guys are that you're going to beat us tomorrow night. And Nia Jax chimes in and says, I mean, Bianca, did you have a brain fart and forget that Bailey and Io tortured you for years? Or Bailey, don't you remember that Io stabbed you in the back before WrestleMania with all your friends? Whatever we've done has not even come close to the issues that you guys have with each other. You're all going to implode before you ever get to the ring, you big losers. And Naomi comes back and says, Nia, girl, shut up. For real. You got way bigger problems like us. And Bailey says, that's true. You're one to talk, Nia. I mean, you've been manipulating little Tiffany Stratton over here from day one, and she's way too naive to say it. And I'd also watch out for Candace. She knows her way around the ring in the business, so she's not going to fall for it.
She's a ring whore.
And
ring
says,
salute.
Not the ring salute. And Liv, she's coming for your job. She goes on to say, so it looks like after War Games, you might not have any friends, will you? And Nia Jax goes, Bailey, you're an expert at no friends, you big idiot. I feel like Nia has been hanging on to that one for like a year. Waiting like for the opportunity to call Bailey like a stupid idiot.
You can see Bailey's face. The camera turns to her, and she's like, oh, "Okay." She was waiting for that. She's waiting for that moment.
She has been saving that, sitting on that for like a couple decades. But Liv goes on to say, "Good one, and please, we are a united front. You can't stop trying to you can stop trying to manipulate us now, Bailey." And she goes on to say, you lost your touch and you're not really good at it anymore. However, I do think it's really interesting how Jade gets attacked and all of a sudden, Bailey's on the War Games team.
I mean, she's messy, but she ain't wrong.
She ain't wrong. And then Rhea Ripley says, Liv, shut up.
Boy,
stop wasting everyone's time. Soon, you're not going to be able to hide behind anyone because when you step into that ring, into those cages, there's nowhere to run and you will have to face me. And Liv says, you know what, Rhea? You're right. That's why I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and finish the job that I started when I broke your face in a steel cage tomorrow night. Ooh. And Rhea's like, oh, naive Liv. I'm going to cave your face in so badly that the love of your life, Dominic Mysterio, is not even going to want to look at you. And Liv's like, no, nice try, because she looked provoked, right? And then she stops just shy of getting in the ring, because of course she's not going to get in the ring. And she says, no, no, nice try. I know what you're doing there, but we'll see you guys tomorrow night. We're leaving. Bye, goodbye. And she did it
I'm
about that annoying, like way more annoying, actually. She was like, bye.
about to say way more annoying.
Way more annoying. And that's when Rhea says, you know what? I hate waiting. And Team Ripley charges out of the ring and up the ramp to engage in a brawl with Team Nia, Morgan, I don't know, the other team.
Yeah.
And they get into a massive brawl, and that brings this segment to a close. And neither team ends up getting the advantage. So it sort of feels like WWE has realized that they're telegraphing a little much with, like, you know, whoever's up
Yeah.
on the last promo is usually who's down and vice versa. And so they're like, we'll keep it a mystery.
Yeah. Well done. I thought that was very well done. Very smart.
Yeah, pretty smart. So it's not so easy to go, well, I guess since this team was up, they're losing tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So we shall see how Women's War Games pans out and who will be the betrayer. I honestly think it's going to go for Team Liv, because I think Bailey is going to get found out at some point and it's going to turn on them.
Yeah. You think so?
Or what if we're super surprised and it's like Io Sky laid out Jade because of all those damn tag matches they lost, and she was like, "I hate you, Jade."
I
So
would not. I would not be surprised, because I said that it was somebody little like her to begin with. Like, I was like, what if it's some like little person who just like ran her off the side there somehow, or something.
well,
And
because like,
I'm still holding on to that.
well, I mean, it could work, because right now the most speculated individuals were the ones that immediately benefited from Jade Cargill getting thrown into a car.
Right.
And that was Lash Legend, who got her spot in the U.S. Title tournament, and Bailey, who ended up with a spot on War Games. But Bailey, I think, legitimately is pals with Naomi, so the one who would be the right one, maybe to be the one that did it, would be Io, because no one's gonna think little Io managed to put Jade through a car.
That's true. But she could get it done.
Yeah. So we shall see. My suspects were Lash and Bailey,
Yeah.
and it could still be Bailey, but it could just as likely be Io.
Yeah, I get the feeling that they're gonna like in the middle of their match, they're gonna end up like with some kind of footage that starts playing on the Titantron, showing who did it.
Yeah, and then Io turns on the rest of her team, and so with the numbers game against them, that's how you have team like Nia and Liv end up catching the win, because Io was the villain in disguise.
That'd be crazy talk.
Yeah, I could see it going that way. So we'll see if
Yeah.
it plays out like that. If not Io, then Bailey, but I don't think it'll be Bailey, but who knows?
Yeah, who knows? We'll see. That's for sure.
Yep, and we won't have to wait too long.
Yeah.
But that brings us to our first match of the night. Andrade El Idolo versus the newly returned Shinsuke Nakamura. And I almost feel like this match was made in answer to like what I said, I think on Raw. It was either Raw or SmackDown, on our last episodes covering those shows, where it was like you and I were talking about how we felt about the return of Shinsuke Nakamura, and it was like his promo package was not terrifically impressive, because we feel like it was the same kind of promo package he'd been doing like just before he left. But we liked his new look, and I think I said that I want to see him in the ring before I come to a conclusion. Although I am skeptical after seeing that promo package, because it was just so like the same kind of promo package. let me tell you, after watching how this match plays out, Shinsuke Nakamura is looking better than ever in the ring.
Yeah, it was
And
fantastic. I have no problem saying that it was easily for me match of the night.
really, it made your match of the night. All right,
Oh yeah,
nice.
yeah. The opening match, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Andrade was fucking phenomenal. Shinsuke looked better than I've ever seen him. The character that he has embodied completely. I think he took some time to figure out what he wanted this guy to do, and he knows what he wants him to do, and he's got it down. And when so there's this really cool thing that he seems to do is kind of like move very slowly until he doesn't.
Yeah,
Because I mean there were several times in this match where he was fast, and I mean like his response was
yeah.
fast.
He wasn't just quick; he was sudden.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, that's a much better word or a much better explanation, description. Um yeah, and it looked good. His strikes looked brutal. His strike game. My man's strike game is on point. And him and Andre are at yeah, you know who I'm saying.
Andrade, yep,
Yeah,
Andrade.
Andrade. Yeah. Him and Andrade look great together. Their chemistry was phenomenal. There were no flubs. There was no fuck up, no muck ups. Like these two gentlemen looked fantastic together.
Yeah, that's a great point. While this was a showing of a returning Shinsuke Nakamura, it was also a fantastic showing for Andrade too.
Hmm.
Like both really were bringing it in the ring, and I have to say, they seem like they have committed to this repackaging. I'd like to make a mention of Nakamura's entrance theme. It has been given sort of a like dark and brooding makeover, and he even has like a new pose that he does. Instead of doing kind of a back bend where he kind of hangs on to the rope, he steps out to the middle and he ends up doing like a strike, like fist down to the ring. He was giving me vibes for this reference, if it lands with people. He was giving me vibes of Akuma from Street Fighter,
Yeah. All right. I can dig that.
but they seem really nice and committed to this sort of dark Nakamura.
Yeah.
Like, definitely, he is a heel. Like, make no mistake.
That did not stop the audience from chanting his name. Uh, it wasn't a huge chant, but I if he continues in matches like this, it will be. Um, it will get there. I mean, honestly, I was so excited to see it. I was so excited to see him because I mean, on I was very nervous. Uh, not like not like oh no, but nervous like oh man, it's just gonna suck. Is this gonna be disappointing? No, no, not at all. Not even a little bit.
Yeah, and it wasn't just because of the work rate, although that was very good. I'm
Yeah,
not taking away from it, but it was that it seemed like Nakamura maintained his persona, his character here, like being a dark villain throughout.
yeah,
Like there was a point early on in the match where I want to say he drove his knee into the midsection of Idolo and then just like drops him on the mat, like just slings him down and then proceeds to try and stomp him. And this would have been brutal, except Idolo rolls out of the way and looks at
yeah,
Nakamura like, "Holy crap!"
yeah,
So that kind of stuff really helped the whole through line of this match, where you're dealing with a different Nakamura, and much more so than like when they just say, this is a more brooding, dark Nakamura, or a more brooding, when they say that something and then, but you don't
yeah,
really see it in the ring. I felt like we saw it in the ring,
yeah.
and I hope they continue that because it was really working.
Yeah, I'm hoping like hell because he when I was watching him, honestly, and I think I even said it jokingly, and it was a joke, but I mean I wouldn't be. It's a joke unless they're gonna do it. Okay. Um, I was looking at him and I was going, man, he's out here looking like the sixth member for the Wyatts.
Yeah, You're not
Right.
wrong. He does look like he could be the sixth member of the
Yeah.
Wyatt Six.
But haha, I'm just joking. Unless y'all gonna do it. In which case,
Yeah,
I'm like, I knew it.
unless they're
Called it.
gonna do it. But
I
just
called
to
it.
kind of recap the match, the first part of the match was good. There was a lot of striking game because Idolo can strike, and obviously Nakamura can as well. And it was kind of back and forth. Not like Nakamura started off strong, but Idolo got back onto it by the time of the first commercial break. And one of the highlight moves during that segment was there was a point where Nakamura ascends to the top turnbuckle and is starting to taunt Idolo, and Idolo just drop kicks him, and it sends Nakamura for a huge tumble on the outside, allowing Idolo to hit his Orihara moonsault, and it was pretty phenomenal that particular exchange. And then in the latter part of the match, there's a point where like Nakamura, there was a theme for he was trying to get his reverse exploder suplex, but Idolo just was like saying no, and so he tries it first on the mat, and then later he tries it again when Idolo is kind of up on the turnbuckle, and he goes for it, but Idolo fights him off and then does his kind of double moonsault, the one where he lands as the guy's rolling away and then he hits it again. I think they called it the second chance moonsault. And then Idolo attempts to go for his finisher, the message, but Nakamura fights his way out. And there was a brief exchange, and Nakamura ends up decking Idolo with a new move in his repertoire. It's kind of like a discus back elbow. And
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
sort of
after
like
those
he
spinning
looks
heel
down
kicks,
and then
right?
spins back. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, snap. He got him with a sneaky back elbow. And it's like they knew that you would be thinking that because then shortly thereafter, Idolo catches Nakamura with his kick into a sneaky back elbow. So it was battle of the sneaky back elbows.
Yeah.
And Idolo then picks up Nakamura and goes for the three amigos. And the first two are normal. But on the last one, it looks like Nakamura's trying to push him back towards the turnbuckle. And it results in Nakamura catching the third amigo into the turnbuckle ropes. And as Nakamura is recovering in the corner, Idolo looks like he's setting up to go for his big Meteora. And Nakamura is reaching up and he grabs the top turnbuckle pad. And just before Idolo hits his Meteora, he dodges out of the way and removes the top turnbuckle pad, which forces Andrade to basically go face first into an unguarded top turnbuckle. And so at that point, the match was basically over. But then Nakamura connects with a nasty Kinshasa to the back of Andrade's head for a 1-2-3.
Now the thing that I really liked about that Sasha, let's try that. Wow, words. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, the
The
Kenny
thing,
Omega.
the thing that I like, yeah,
No, the Kinshasa.
yeah, the thing that I like the really liked about that Kenny sauce is that I like that he slowly like walked around to the other side of the ring to do it. You know, like he just took his time and like walked across with his hand on the rope, and then just like lightning, like a bolt of lightning, covered the distance between him and Andrade and
Yeah.
drops him.
Yeah, and it looked pretty mean. Like it looked mean like it looks mean when um Will Ospreay hits the hidden blade on the back of someone's head.
Yeah,
I mean, this just looked like Idolo was for sure done. I mean, not that the face first into the unguarded turnbuckle didn't do most of the work, but this, I mean,
yeah.
this was a nasty looking Kinshasa.
Yeah, the Kinshasa was the icing on the cake.
Indeed. And then immediately after the match, LA
The
Knight runs
horrible cake.
a horrible cake. Immediately after the match, LA Knight runs to the ring and slides in, and Nakamura isn't really acknowledging him until he does. And
Yeah.
so
Oh
it
God.
looks like
Yeah.
LA Knight is attempting to maybe rush him either with a shoulder block or maybe hitting him with the title or something. And Nakamura just takes like one super quick back step and simultaneously spews black mist all in Knight's face, like all in Knight's face. And it was so smooth and it looked so cool. And it's like, oh man, Shinsuke
Yeah.
Nakamura is a boss.
Yeah. Just like that. Just like that. Just one match.
Yep. And then Nakamura just sort of like slides out of the ring and walks up the ramp and makes his exit. And it was like, wow, Nakamura immediately looked super awesome.
Yep. 0 to 100.
Yeah, it was supremely good. So if that is the new Nakamura, I'm on board. Welcome back.
Yep,
And
for
in fact,
sure.
that was the chant that he was receiving as he exited the
Yeah, welcome back. Yep, yep.
yep. So the crowd was with it too. So well done. Nakamura has immediately made an impact and amped up the heat for his match with LA Knight in
Yeah.
one fell swoop.
Yeah, just like that. Just like that. That's one of the matches that I am very interested in seeing. So,
Yeah.
whoop whoop.
Aces.
Yeah,
Um would you like to say what happened next?
sure. After that, I believe we went to the back to see the bloodline, the new bloodline. As they were getting geared up for Jacob Fatu's main event match with Jey Uso. And while they were talking, Nick Aldis steps in and interrupts them to inform the bloodline that they're all barred from ringside during tonight's main event. Uh, Solo Sikoa gave one of the funniest. I've been telling you, Solo is working it out, man. He's quickly becoming one of my new favorites. Characters like, and that's crazy because he's had to do a crazy switch in character from being the silent, psycho Jacob Fatu before Jacob Fatu was there. That he was basically Jacob Fatu for Roman Reigns, and now he has to basically fill the shoes of Roman Reigns, which is fucking difficult. Like, that's crazy talk already. But he's making a name for himself. He's carving out his own little path, and I think he's doing a great job. Um, and just a little side note there about that, about Solo, because he was hilarious in this. He was. I don't even know if it
Yeah.
was intentional, but he was unintentionally funny. I'll just say it like that. Um,
Yeah, it was pretty good. Like while Nick was there given the mandate, he was like, "Oh, really?" And Nick was like, "It's too important. I have to insist." And then Solo was like, "Okay, we hear you. We got you. We understood." And Nick walked away, and Solo turned and he's like, "Pff, "That guy," you know. And it was pretty good. Solo is finding the personality for this character that he's portraying, and I like it.
Yeah. But, Solo doesn't seem too bothered, and neither does anyone else in the new bloodline. Certainly not Jacob Fatu. He looks like he's just ready to go into beast mode whenever the bell rings. After that,
Indeed.
indeed. After that, we have Tommaso Ciampa losing his shit. He
Like
is
all of his shit.
breaking down. He ain't gonna make it, y'all. He
No.
is he is verbally melting down in front of Johnny Gargano, who is trying to calm him down like the tired boyfriend who's ready to call it quits, but he just doesn't have the strength to even break up with her yet. Um So he's just listening to like the last dregs of like the relationship being flushed down the toilet. That's the face Johnny Gargano had. While Ciampa just yelled and yelled about getting the titles and how he's tired of being a loser. Uh Ciampa doesn't give a damn if Alex Shelley was Gargano's mentor back in the day. Like I think he feels that Gargano's or he thinks that Gargano's relationship with Motor City Machine Guns, or Machine Gun Motor City, uh
Yeah,
yeah, is more important than DIY. Like Champa feels like that's what Johnny's thinking, or that's what Johnny's feeling. Um and it is more important than like DIY getting the tag team titles, and he's gonna stick to his plan whether Gargano likes it or not. Oh, and he also had to make damn sure that Johnny Gargano knows. Okay, he is tired of talking. All right, Johnny's got 1 week, 1 week to figure his shit out. 1 week.
yeah. The line has been drawn.
Yeah,
He's
and
gonna
then
have
he
to choose between DIY or Motor Machine City Guns.
he storms away, and Johnny Gargano still has like this defeated look. His
Yeah,
shoulders are slumped, and he just has this look like, "Why, dear sweet Jesus, take me now."
yeah.
Um,
He definitely was wearing the like, "How could this happen to me?" face.
yes, he was. Oh man. Well, I find that funny. I think we're looking at the beginning of the end here, of course. I also like the
Yeah,
fact that this is the go home show for SmackDown, and they're still taking time out to set up other storylines that are happening or that are going to be taking place past the
the pay per view.
the pay-per-view. I like that.
Yeah,
Um that shows really smart thinking there with your show progression, especially considering that you have less time now, right? So I pretty smart.
yeah. Optimizing that time is a good call.
Yeah.
And then after that, we had a word from our sponsor. I wish Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens has a video promo package.
When I made notes about this particular show, I'm looking here and I see Kevin Orton is what I wrote. I can't let it go. When I screw up a name, my brain goes, done, that's the name.
Yeah, owns it.
Uh,
Randy Kevin Orton. Um, the most dangerous 2 letters in all the WWE. But
God.
Kevin appears on screen, and thank goodness this was just a normal video package. I wasn't really feeling the like mopey Owens in the car thing. That wasn't really for me.
Yeah.
So we get a little more lively and a little more like self-righteous Kevin Owens here, and he goes on to say, there's people out there who are still on Cody's side, so let me explain to you why I'm right. And then he lists like back in January 1st of 2021, Roman Reigns and his cousin assaulted him and threw him off a 15-foot scaffold through multiple tables, but he got
Yeet.
up. Yeet. And then he goes on to say January 31st of 2021. Man, January of 2021 was a bad time for KO. He says Royal Rumble, Roman Reigns runs him over with a golf cart, but he got up. And then
Yeet.
he fast forwards to January 28th of 2023. Man, January, he's going to have like PTSD about January.
Yeah, just stay indoors for January, bro.
Right? He's like, I'm vacationing that month.
That's your vacation month.
But he goes on to say again at Royal Rumble, Roman Reigns orders for him to get super kicked over and over and over again while he's handcuffed. And for that one, Cody Rhodes was in the building, but he was nowhere to be found. But you know where he was at Bad Blood this year when Roman Reigns needed somebody? That's right, right there by his side. And
Damn.
that's just three of the dozens of examples he could use to show that Cody Rhodes deserves everything that's coming to him at Saturday night's main event when he turns the American Nightmare into the Canadian Dream.
Damn.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Ice cold.
Yeah. Yeah, I wrote as my little side note, by the stuff that he was saying, Kevin Orton is awake. Kevin Orton. I'm not.
Kevin Orton. Kevin Orton was awake. One of you was awake.
I certainly was not.
Yeah. And that
Yeah.
led us into our second match of the night. And this is Cody Rhodes versus Carmelo Hayes from their interaction, I want to say last SmackDown, after Cody had a standoff Cody was in the ring and Kevin was in the audience. And then afterwards, Cody Rhodes was making his way backstage and Carmelo was apparently running his mouth. So this is the fallout from that.
Yeah.
And making his way to the ring. Obviously, Cody comes out first.
Making his way down the ring.
Exactly. And then once Carmelo's entrance hits, just before he makes his way to the ring, he's got a mic and he says, Cody, you know what? Kevin was right. You did turn your back on him. Because let's be real. You're not the guy to stab a guy in the back. We know that. But you're the one who's going to stab someone directly in the heart. Who needs enemies when you have friends like Cody Rhodes? So, Cody, you want to evaluate me? You want to evaluate the first round draft pick? Well, you're going to learn that this evaluation is going to only find out one thing, and that's exactly why I am him. Mic drop.
Yeah.
And so, what were some of your thoughts on this match?
I feel like overall this was a banger of a match. Carmelo definitely needed this. And so did Cody. Um, anything that keeps Cody out of the picture when it comes to the bloodline right now is great. Anything that gets him further and further away from that storyline, just for the time being, man, and gives him something else to focus on during his title run, I am here for it. And this looked good. Carmelo, um, normally, and I'm going back in my head right now, and I don't have any notes either that say that I saw any type of flub or bad timing. Him and Cody looked good, and
They were both
Cody
locked in.
Cody looked vicious tonight. Like
Yep.
there was a theme, especially with the first two matches. Um, and there was a theme where the dudes were being just, you didn't expect them to be brutal. Since Shinsuke Nakamura is not one of those guys that before he left I thought of as a brutal competitor, even though he was king of the strong style, right? And Cody, while very competent in the ring, I never think of him when I think of a hard hitting or like brutal uh match or someone to give me that type of match.
Mm-hmm.
I don't normally think Cody. I'm not saying that he doesn't go hard on the paint. I'm not saying that. His rivalry between Seth Rollins was some epic greedy shit, especially when he ended up injuring himself and still going through with the match. So I'm not saying that he can't go hard on the paint. I'm just saying that he's not the first wrestler that I think of when I think of somebody who can be brutal. And I might rethink that after tonight's match with Carmelo Hayes, because Cody Rhodes was out there doing some really like some power moves and also some really nice clever change ups on some of his old moves.
Yep.
Looked real good. They both looked really good, and this is their second time, I think, in the ring together. The first time they did a great job. This time was that but with a little more seasoning on it. Like
Yeah.
it was a much heartier meal that they gave us, and
Yeah.
they both looked like, they look like good competition for each other.
I fully agree. Yeah, both Carmelo and Cody were absolutely locked in. And I agree with you. We were getting no nonsense, pissed off Cody Rhodes tonight. And
Yeah,
you remember how I had criticized the last couple of matches? It looked like Cody Rhodes was like moving in a kind of a stilted manner,
yeah,
like
hmm
too much prep time between his moves. It wasn't that fluid. That was not the case here tonight with Hayes.
yeah.
Like either these two guys have a lot of good chemistry, or Cody Rhodes like is channeling a different character at this point. Like maybe who knows? Cody Rhodes turn heel. Um, but either way, both these guys were bringing it in the ring.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
The first portion of this match was largely them kind of one-upping each other by avoiding and countering one another's moves a lot. And the first segment ends up ending with Rhodes dodging a clothesline from Hayes, only to then clothesline Hayes over the top rope and landing a big suicide dive. And then we get in kind of the second part of the match. And here we're starting to see them land, a bit bigger moves, but they're still doing a lot of counter wrestling with one another. Although there was a point where Rhodes hits Hayes with the disaster kick, and like Hayes practically backflips from it. Like it was ridiculous the way he sold it. And I want to say there was another point where Rhodes got Carmelo in the corner and did a middle rope superplex, but I think the theme tonight was Cody Rhodes showing off power. And I don't know if that's a new thing that he's trying, or if it was because Carmelo is, a size that he can be more of a power wrestler with. But he did a delayed superplex by holding Carmelo, vertical for several seconds before dropping him.
Thing that's I don't know if this is a thing that's going to continue with him, but I would be okay with seeing more.
Yeah, I
Um,
fully agree.
I'm open to see what else you got there, Code
Yep.
Meister.
And another high spot was when Hayes got thrown hard into the corner, and then Cody Rhodes was preparing for his like spinning power slam, but Hayes like faked him out and made Cody kind of just spin into the ground, and then hit him with a huge tilt-a-whirl face buster. And that was pretty good, but then they recover and have a small exchange, and then Rhodes picks him up bodily and then proceeds to hit him with a running power slam, like a la Braun Strowman,
Yeah,
or
seriously.
for an even older reference, the British Bulldog. And so that's what I mean by like Rhodes is showing some power game here, because it's like, man, that's a running power slam. I don't recall ever seeing him do that before.
Yeah.
And Rhodes then like immediately applies like viciously steps into, like, how when wrestlers typically go for the figure four, they kind of, it's not super fast that they throw the application on. There's usually some pomp and circumstance and a little bit of resistance.
Yeah.
No, Cody was like, oh, this is happening, and locks in the figure four like quick. And fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, he applied it with Hayes a little bit close to the ropes, so Hayes is able to get the rope break. And that leads us into the latter part of the match, where they're really bringing it at this point. I want to say Hayes hits Cody with like a thrust kicks to the midsection, and then he sweeps the legs out from under Rhodes and delivers the fadeaway. And Hayes does his vertical suplex cutter and gets a 2 count. And they're kind of going back and forth here. So it's rapidly becoming one of those matches where like whoever hits like the next big thing could catch the win. And Hayes goes to the top and dives completely over Cody Rhodes. Uh, and then I want to say Codes attempts a belly to back suplex. But Hayes, of course, lands on his feet. I mean, the belly to back suplex these days, more often than not, results in the guy receiving it, like being able to kind of flip their way out of it. And
Yeah.
then I want to say Hayes goes for like an O'Connor roll, but Rhodes blocks it. And then Hayes tries to get a clothesline, but Rhodes ducks it. And so it's like counter, counter, counter. And then Rhodes ends up hitting the Cody cutter. And that allows him to get Carmelo with the crossroads. And the sell on this crossroads was absurd.
Yes.
Carmelo Hayes should get a gold star for this, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Because he lands completely on top of his head and bounces over the top of Cody Rhodes' body. And it looked insane. Like, oh, Cody wins by not knockout, but fatality.
Yeah.
Well
Yeah.
done.
Well, Carmelo's dead, so guess
Yeah. Carmelo was him.
yes.
But yeah, both of these guys really brought it. And I mean, this was a fantastic showing for Carmelo Hayes and a really good showing for Cody. Like, this is the best I've seen Cody perform in a minute.
Yeah. You ain't wrong.
And I really have to appreciate, like, you've had a match tonight with Andrade El Idolo versus Shinsuke Nakamura, and you've had a match tonight with Carmelo Hayes and Cody Rhodes. And everybody in those matches looked outstanding. Like, there was no burial here. Like all of them looked amazing.
Yep.
So this was a really excellent match and a really good showing for both Carmelo and Cody Rhodes. Like, excellently done.
Yeah. And also, thank you for not putting Carmelo and Andrade in another match with each other. Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you for separating that. Appreciate it.
So after that really solid match, we are taken to a segment where CM Punk and Roman Reigns are going to have a sit down with Paul Heyman as kind of, I guess, the middleman or the connective tissue. And
Yeah.
did you want to speak to this?
Certainly. I can say that CM Punk did not annoy me as much as I thought he would. Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna lie, he didn't annoy me at all. This particular segment, however, kind of the music just seemed way too dramatic for what was happening. And it also felt like, cause like honestly, I feel no heat between Roman Reigns and CM Punk. Like none. So whenever they were talking, they had this dramatic music playing. That I swear to Christ just kept getting louder. The more the segment went on. The one thing that I thought was funny though was Roman Reigns. He says "wise man," and I really don't want to I don't want to read the script like what they said,
No.
but long story short, he asked why where CM Punk is because CM Punk is late. And then Roman is complaining about that, and it doesn't work for him because the guy's keeping him waiting. And then CM Punk shows up. He sits down and he looks at his watch and he goes, "I don't have a lot of time." Which normally, if someone came to a meeting with Roman Reigns and said that, depending on who it would be, like let's say Sammy did it, it would be funny. For some reason, CM Punk did it. I'm pretty sure people are like, ugh, I know, and I get it, I get it. But when he did that, I actually thought that shit was hilarious. I thought it was pretty funny. And Roman goes, Roman's like, well, good thing you showed up late. Um, but the one thing that I thought was weird, and this is always the case with CM Punk's promos, like a lot of times his rebuttals are just kind of weird. Like it's not the flex that he thinks it is. So when Roman Reigns says, "Well, it's a good thing you showed up late," CM Punk's response was, "I didn't show up for you. I showed up for Paul Heyman. You're a wise man." And I'm like scratching my head.
So you showed up for your friend Paul late?
I'm like, so you showed up for him late? I don't understand how that. Yeah, exactly. I don't understand how that's a.
Not the
Uh,
flex you think it is.
yeah, it's not. But
Yeah,
but like that's always like, man, he always cuts, like, he says weird stuff, and maybe he gets caught off guard or sometime, just whatever. Thinking off the top of the dome, sometimes people say some weird shit, so I'll give that to him. But it just, it's like, it's kind of funny whenever it happens, and it makes me go, uh, it gives me the giggle, um, because he's just so awkward. Um,
yeah.
but other than that, I mean, it got the point across. But I have to say that it's, even Roman seemed kind of out of place here. Like it was like Roman was trying to figure out what the angle was, or what needed to be said here, because I don't think. I mean, first of all, I don't know if they're friends or not in real life. They might be. They're probably good friends, and maybe that's why there is no heat here. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It wasn't hitting for me the way that the music,
Yeah.
the surroundings, everything just felt kind of off compared to what they were saying. Like, what they
Yeah.
were saying was not crazy, was not intense with each other, it was not mean or anything. In fact, see, like, Roman said, "I don't like you. I don't like your attitude," and blah blah blah. And CM Punk said, "You don't like me. I don't care." Like, I mean, that's pretty much the harshest thing that was said between the two. And after that, he was pretty much like, "If you want to revisit this conversation after I get the opportunity to basically get some revenge for my friend Paul here, then I'll be more than happy to revisit it with you." And that was it. Like, I mean, honestly, there was no like, "Yeah, well, you don't like me. Why don't you do something about?" Like, nobody did any of that. So this music
Yeah.
that was playing, the vibe they were trying to give, just felt weird, right? I think that's what was happening.
Well, can I speak to how it kind of landed for me?
Yeah,
Um, here's the thing. It felt like there wasn't very much dialogue for as long as it was trying to be, and they were trying to make it way more intense than I feel like it should have
yeah,
been. But on top of that, I felt like Roman Reigns is like, "Where is he?" And Paul's like, "I don't know, my tribal chief." And he goes, "This guy keeps me waiting. That doesn't work for me." And then, Roman's like, "Good thing you showed up late," when CM Punk says, "I don't have a whole lot of time." And CM Punk then proceeds to, like, back to back with his responses. He's like, "I didn't show up for you. I showed up for Paul Heyman." And Roman's like, "Good, but let's get one thing straight. I don't need your help." And CM Punk's like, "Cool. I figured you'd feel that way. I don't necessarily want to give you any help, but I'm not here for you. I'm here for Paul." And then Roman is like, "Well, I'm happy for you guys. I really am, but I don't like your tone. I don't like your attitude. I don't like you. And I damn sure don't want to team with you at War Games tomorrow night." And that's when Paul kind of said his piece. But it felt like to me, like CM Punk was like, "I'm here for Paul. I'm here for Paul. I'm here for Paul. I'm here for Paul." Like, even his last response is like, "You don't like my attitude. I don't care. I don't like you. It doesn't matter. I'm not here for you. I'm here for Paul." And I'm like, "Okay, Punk, we get it, dude." Like, you are a broken record at this point. Like, and for such a few lines of dialogue, ultimately, for me to feel like, man, he is just saying the same thing over and over verbatim. That really kind of, like, it undermined what they were trying to do here.
think well, for me, it didn't undermine it. For me, it like Roman, I kind of felt kept saying the same thing as well, just in a different way. So CM Punk kept going, yeah, but I'm not here for you. I'm here for Paul. And it's kind of like, to me, that feels like a normal conversation. They didn't read it like a normal conversation. I'll say
Yeah.
that. They didn't act it out like a normal
Well,
conversation. They acted it kind of differently. But honestly, if somebody it like if I'm coming to a meeting and someone says to me, I don't need your help, and I go, cool, but I'm not here for you. I'm here for this person. And then they go, yeah, but I don't like you. I don't want to team up with you. I don't, I don't want to da da da. Well, the answer is still the same. That's cool. I
yeah.
don't really want to
I don't
give you
know.
the help,
For
but
me,
I'm here for him.
it felt like Roman like first was like, "Oh, way to be late," and he's like, "Cool, I showed up for Paul," and I
Yeah, that
said,
was a
"Well,
dumb answer.
I don't need your help," and he said, "Cool, I showed up for Paul," and then he went on to say, "Yeah, I don't like your attitude and your tone." And then CM Punk is like, "Well, I don't care. I'm here for Paul." So it really did feel like CM Punk's answer for everything was, "Cool story, bro. I'm here for Paul."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I agree. But I do see the other side there, which is his answer should have been for all of his for all of his questions. Mostly, I'm here for Paul. Like I don't like. Yeah, I'm late. Sure, yes, but if I had to, what he should have said was, if I had to apologize to anyone, it would be Paul because I'm here for Paul. That's what he should have said, and then that would have made more sense. But his for the saying that he was here for Paul as the first response to "you're late" made no sense.
Yeah. So
The other ones, and because of that, it stood out. Because of that, yeah, it made us go, okay, that's weird. Because so that just you're basically saying I'm showing up late for my friend. What does that mean? What
yeah, I mean, it was repetitive, and like you're pointing out now, in one spot, it didn't make any sense.
Right. But
Um,
the other two times that he said it made sense. And had he not said it the first time, if he had not said, "I didn't show up for you, I showed up for Paul Heyman, your wise man," then the rest of the promo or the rest of the segment would have made sense, and it would have been a lot less confusing or a lot less weird, repetitive, standoutish. Because
yeah,
I'm telling you that the first "I didn't show up for you," that sentence right there kind of killed his heat, or his response for anything else, because that one stood out. It stood out because it was weird. That's all. But other than that, I mean, this was it was decent, and they made sure
yeah,
that everybody knows this is something that's gonna happen one time. Uh, CM Punk said, one time, one favor, and Roman assumed that CM Punk meant that Roman owed him a favor, and CM Punk told him no, it's not. He doesn't owe him anything. Uh, Paul Heyman owes him a favor, and then he gets up dramatically and he leaves. So I guess we're done with the conversation. Roman wants to know what the favor is, and Paul Heyman's response was to basically, let's get through War Games tomorrow night, and then we'll have all the time in the world to talk about what the favor is. And Roman just kind of that little segment ends with Roman drilling holes into the side of Paul Heyman's whole brain to access his thoughts.
yeah. He's staring at him like he's gonna kill him.
Yeah, which led us into our third match of the night, which
Hmm.
was Michin versus Piper Niven with Chelsea Green versus Lash Legend in a first round match in the WWE Women's United States Championship tournament.
Hmm.
Tournament.
And how did you end up feeling about this match?
A really fun match. Um, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you guys right now that there's not a match tonight that I did not enjoy. Um, and this match was no exception. Um, I wanted to see a little more of Lash. I kind of like when she was in the ring. When I did see her, you saw her. But I could have used a little bit more of Lash in my life. Um, Michin looked surprisingly good in this match because she was greatly overpowered.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, she was the smallest competitor and therefore obviously the underdog.
yeah, and we're dealing with like, come on, Piper Niven and Lash Legend, who those two look really good together when they get in the ring. Um, every
Agree.
every time I see them, it is a treat. Um, and this was no exception. Let's see, what else? Michin held her own. Uh, it wasn't just a what's the word I'm looking for?
Squash.
Yeah, it wasn't just a squash for Michin. Like there wasn't just like yeeting her out the ring every 5 seconds, and and then the adults had the adults had their conversation, and then they throw the
Yeah.
kid out. It wasn't that. She came with feet and everything. um. Oh, there was one particular moment where Chelsea Green rued the day that she got into that match at all to help, because out of nowhere we had a BFAB come, and she did a bit like she just ran her. Basically she drives Green because she's out on the apron. She drives her back first into the apron, but she like when she was running towards Chelsea, there was no break, man. She just went full on into that apron with Chelsea, and I was like, ouch. That looked I don't know, that stood out to me because that looked pretty brutal.
Yeah, no,
Um
beef
for
beefab.
being not in the match, for like just something that's happening on the side, they're not even a part of the match. That looked like
Mhm.
a particularly ouchy move right there. B
Yeah, the
Fab was
last
looking brutal.
the last couple of times we've seen BFAB, she's looked good, like
Yeah.
in her match and here.
I mean, so much so that we have to comment about, or I definitely had to make a comment about her. She wasn't even in the match, but I had to point that out because every time I see her now, she's looking alpha dog dominant. So yeah, I'd love to see some more of that in the ring. Go ahead and put her in the ring. Let's go. Let's see it. Um, I know Michin started the party out with the roundhouse kick, and I thought to myself, "There's no way she's winning because she started it out. Uh, she started out hitting people, so we know how that goes." Um,
Yeah. I liked how Michin realized immediately that she was overpowered, so she immediately kicks Niven and then
yeah,
turns her attention to Lash, who tries to clothesline her, but instead she ducks, and so Lash hits Niven. So Niven's just getting kicked,
yeah,
and Michin is like, I'm gonna dodge around. There was a point where I think like Niven grabbed her. I want to say she grabbed her from behind, and like Michin lifted her legs up to kick Lash.
hmm
So she was using her quicks to try and avoid these two much larger women from just
yeah,
squashing her.
yeah, absolutely. And I thought that was really smart. Also made it believable. It made the outcome believable.
Indeed. Just to kind of do a quick rundown of the match, like I mentioned early on, Michin is using her speed to avoid the much larger Piper Niven and Lash Legend, and often kind of turning their attacks that would be directed at her against one another. Um, but there was, I want to say, a point where Niven gets her hands on Michin and hits her with a running cross body splash for a 2 count, and that leads to Michin, after the 2 count, rolling out of the ring. And so Niven delivers a massive headbutt to Lash Legend. I was surprised by that. and she attempts to body slam Lash, but Lash reverses back onto her feet. Then Niven, I want to say, jumped at Lash, and Lash catches her. But by
Mm-hmm.
this point, Michin's recovered, and she runs in and she drop kicks the back of Piper Niven, so that Legend kind of falls backward, essentially being splashed by Piper on accident. And then Michin jumps up on Piper Niven's back. And at that point, Legend backs Michin into the turnbuckles. And then Michin, when Legend turns to face her, kicks her in the jaw and hits a flying Hurricane Rana that sends Legend to the ground, or rather to the mat. And then Michin blasts Piper Niven with a penalty kick. And I want to say she ends up with both Piper and Lash on the outside. And she does a running dive to the outside and, topples both Niven and Lash. And excited about this, the announcers are even saying now she has the Herculean task of getting either Lash or Niven back in the ring. It wasn't that Herculean at all. She pretty much helps Niven back to her feet and then pushes her back into the ring. And it's at that point that Chelsea Green decides to intercede directly. And so when Michin is standing on the apron about to get back in the ring, Chelsea Green yanks her off the ring apron and proceeds to kick her. And that's when, as you were mentioning before, BFAB runs at full speed down to the ringside and just drills Chelsea Green back first into the apron, and then they proceed to I'll say they brawled, but really it's BFAB punching Green all the way to the backstage and out of this. Their Chelsea Green is no longer a factor in this match.
It was at that moment she knew.
Yeah.
She fucked up.
And so the camera turns to Piper Niven, and she's like, "No, Chelsea, no." And I think when we were watching it, you were like, I don't think she can hear you, Piper."
Yeah, I don't think she can hear you.
But
Chelsea, no, Chelsea.
it was about like that. And so Niven then turns around to face
Don't.
the ring.
Chelsea.
And that's when Lash Legend absolutely kicks the life out of Piper Niven with a pump kick. And I think after that they kind of went to their break. And then when it came back, I want to say at this point Niven has regained control of the match, and she hits a running cannonball strike. And I want to say the Piper driver, which really just looks like an absolutely massive Michinoku driver. And both of these were on Michin. And then I think Lash comes over and tries to lift Piper. After she breaks up the pin, she tries to lift Piper into the fireman's carry position. And I wasn't sure if she was going to get it, but she actually got Piper up in the fireman's carry position. But Piper sort of shimmies out of it and hits a lariat on Lash. And then stomps on Lash's chest and hits the Vader bomb on her. Or I think she calls it the Viper bomb. The Big Van Vader. I mean, they're similar moves, but I'm pretty sure I thought she called it the Viper bomb. But she catches a 2 count, and Michin, she catches a 2 count, cause Michin breaks up the pin, and I want to say Michin gets a chop and a forearm kind of off, but Legend reverses out of an Irish whip from Michin, and Legend hits this absolutely gargantuan. This move was ridiculous. She hits this huge Uranagi into a backbreaker on Michin, and I was like, well, it was nice knowing you, Michin. You had a promising career. I hope you weren't too attached to walking. And so that sort of leaves Legend and Piper in the ring. And Niven rocks her with a forearm smash. Uh, but Legend then sidesteps Niven as they're going into the turnbuckles. And then coming out of the turnbuckle, Legend proceeds to choke slam Piper Niven. And it wasn't the most beautiful choke slam, folks. But to her credit, she did get Niven up for it. And that gets a 2 count.
Yeah.
And then Legend's like, what? And so she hooks Niven's leg and tries to go for it immediately again and gets another 2 count. And then she hops up and argues with the referee because, like, there's no way, right? And that's when Michin, like, gets in while Legend is arguing with the ref. And so, like, from out of nowhere, Michin super kicks Legend, and Legend's just, like, melt. And I want to say Michin then tries for another Hurricane Rana, but Legend counters it with a absolutely massive kneeling power bomb. Like, this was gorgeous. And this is part of the reason I'm such a fan of Lash Legend. She is a wielder of choke slams and power bombs, and therefore immediately super my favorite type of wrestler.
Yes.
And this power bomb looked good, and somehow. No, not somehow. No, yeah, it was somehow. Somehow Michin kicked out of that power bomb. And so when they're trying to recover from that, Niven runs in and hits a double senton splash on both Lash and Michin for a 2 count. And I want to say Niven then throws Michin into the corner and tries to follow it up, but Michin kicks Niven in the face, and then Niven gets Michin and perches her on the top turnbuckle, and Niven was attempting to go for like what looked like an avalanche Piper driver, and Michin's struggling. She's like, "Oh hell no, I don't want any of this," and Lash Legend comes and kind of like gets in the way, and that allows Michin to kind of wiggle out. And Piper turns around and headbutts Lash Legend and attempts to go for a diving senton bomb, but Legend rolls out of the way. And that allows Legend to pick up Niven and hit her with her finishing move, the Lash Extension, which again is another very incredible lift that Lash just did to Niven twice now in this match. 3 times if you count the chokeslam.
Yeah.
And I thought this was it. I thought this is going to be the winning, this is over. But Michin dives in from off of the top rope with a senton bomb, and that forces Lash to roll out because she's the one that got hit with it. And Michin then steals the cover after Lash's finisher on Piper to pick up the victory. And so the winner and the one progressing in the WWE's Women's United States Championship tournament will be Michin, the underdog going into this match.
What? Yeah.
I know, I was surprised too.
I'm not gonna lie, I was surprised, but I was okay with it.
If Lash Legend is going to throw Jade Cargill into a car to get this spot, she should have at least won.
My God.
Messy?
Very. But hey, you might be accurate. We don't know how I like that.
And now Jade might be Acura.
Oh my God. Come on.
But it was a fantastic match, honestly, and I was surprised that Michin got the win. I'm not surprised that Michin can get the win. I'm surprised that she got the win, considering who she was in there with. Mm-hmm. And well done. I mean, this was a fantastic match. So far, we're 3 matches in, and SmackDown is an absolute banger.
Yep. Which leads us.
Indeed, do tell.
Wait. Well, looks like the time for talking is over.
Uh-oh. No, there's stuff in between.
Oh, yeah, there is. LA Knight is backstage, getting his
Receiving medical attention, by the way.
get, getting his face worked on. Like somebody's putting eye drops in his eye, and somebody else is holding a towel by his face for some reason. I don't know.
They're still trying to wipe off all of that mist that Shinsuke hit him with.
Yeah, because he was tatted. He was tatted with it. But here comes old Byron Saxton. Being messy and shit. Um, Wanting to see what's what. And so LA Knight shooed everybody away because he couldn't talk with them around. With that one guy holding the towel by his face and the other one dropping water drops on his cheeks or some shit. I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what the fuck he was doing. But anyway. Um LA Knight tells Byron Saxton that Shinsuke Nakamura is gonna have a big problem at Survivor Series. And he's gonna drop him the hard way. Because there's no other option at this point, basically. And of course, it's gonna do with everybody saying LA Knight. Yeah.
Yeah,
Then
I like.
oh, go ahead.
Just real quick, I liked that LA Knight when Byron Saxton showed up. He was like, he looked incredulous at Byron Saxton for a second, and then rushed, made everybody go away, and he was like, now is the time you want to have you want to catch a word, you want to find out what's going on right now while I'm getting worked on. Oh, okay, here, let me let me talk to you.
Yes, he was very, very upset.
It was pretty good.
He was very upset at Spaghetti, and he also looked like a one of those cartoon characters that has like a bomb blow up in their face.
He did, because that mist was like just jet black, and so it was very apparent. He was covered in it.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, Shinsuke did a full spray.
Yep.
My man hit him like he was trying to tan his ass. It was amazing.
Yeah, he
Then
got him good.
he done did. And then after that, we had Nick Aldis in the back again, ruining people's lives and dreams and their hopes.
Killer of fun.
Yeah. Well, he shows up with Sammy, or he shows up when Sammy and Jimmy were backstage giving Jay the puff up, telling him that it's all on him. It's it's just you, Oos. And then Nick Aldis came in and said about that. Yes, it is just you, Oos. You two fucks can't help him. So
that's exactly what he said, by the way.
yeah, we just would have just like with an accent. He said it with you two fucks can't help him, right? That's what he said. And Sammy was like, "Damn!" And no, I'm kidding. Okay, I'm an adult, guys. I pay bills and everything. People trust me to cook them food. Uh, um, but yeah, basically Nick just told them the same thing that he told the new bloodline. They can't come out there, and Jimmy was like, "What?" And Sammy was like, "Oh, okay."
And Jay was like, "Yeet."
Yeah, Jay was like, "Yeet." And then began, well, the time for talk being over.
Oh?
Yeah, because it's time for the main event.
What?
True story.
Who's in it?
It's the fourth match of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Jey Uso versus Jacob Fatu in the men's War Games Advantage match. And for tonight, Jay's song rang true. It was just him, Oos, by himself.
Indeed. It was also one of the first times, if not the first time, that we get to see a full solo entrance for Jacob Fatu. And I
Banger.
believe it was his first singles match in the WWE. Like he's been running
Twas.
around causing all kinds of chaos, but this was the first time he was in just like an actual match that's just him.
Banger. His entrance, banger. The match, mm. Mr. Fatu, sir. The future. The future of WWE. Jacob Fatu is a beast.
Yeah, you're
Like,
not wrong. I get why they call him the Samoan werewolf. Jeez, Dewey.
my man is a beast. He is a force to be reckoned with. And thank you so much, Jay, for taking this.
Yeah, and it was good. This match in in a night in a SmackDown, a go home show where the first three matches were all bangers. Like
Yeah.
your main event's gonna have to be the biggest banger, and oh, it was. Jacob Fatu is not a one trick pony. You know, I know we've just seen him show up and kind of like wreck shop, hit his
Yeah.
finishers, and call it a day. But him and Jay put on a match.
Yeah, they did. Um, and I mean, okay. I couldn't call it. It was the bang. It was the banger. It was the banger. But I couldn't call it the banger of the night for me. Only because we usually know what the ending of a War Games advantage match for dudes is gonna be. It's usually the heels are gonna be up. So like I kind of knew. Well, I knew that Jacob Fatu was gonna win coming into this. So that's why I was, but I mean, it was still good, but and it was also kind of hard to watch Jay get his ass beat. It was kind of hard to watch Jay get his
Yeah.
ass beat for like 15 minutes.
I feel you, and I feel what you're saying. Like I know you already claimed your match of the night. It was Shinsuke versus Andrade, and I'm not taking away from that. I absolutely respect that opinion. But for me,
Hmm.
match of the night was this one between Jay and
Hmm.
Fatu.
Hmm. Hmm.
This was insanity from the start to the finish. Mainly because Jacob Fatu is crazy, but I
Yeah.
think he has channeled it for the good of our entertainment.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it starts out they're just like beating each other up in the ring. I want to say they start up and Fatu backs Jay into the turnbuckles. The ref wants a clean break, and Fatu shoves Jay because I think Jay said something. And they're dropping haymakers on one another, and Jay gets Jacob in a side headlock, and if I remember correctly, Jacob just like lifts Jay up. Instead of like pushing him out of the headlock into the ropes, he picks him up and carries him to the ropes and then pushes him away from there. And it's just like, oh man, we know who's got the power advantage in this particular match. Um, and Jacob Fatu, I think, like obliterates Jay with a shoulder tackle, and then hits him with like just a huge right hand. And Jay is kind of hanging out on the middle rope, thinking about his life. And Jacob uses the middle rope to kind of choke Jay. It looked like it was either a choke or like one of those like where you squeeze somebody's traps. But he was pushing him down into the rope. And then from there, they just continue back and forth throughout the first part. But there is a portion before it ends where I want to say that Jay clotheslines Jacob over the top rope. And then when Jay goes for the suicide dive, Jacob catches him in midair and then pretty much runs him face first into the steel ring post and then yeets him entirely over the announce table. And that ends the first segment of the match where Jay is checking out the bottom of the announcer chairs.
And going, good craftsmanship. Yeet.
Like, yeah, these are put together great.
This is great yeetmanship.
And then when we return, as the way you left it would lead you to believe, Jacob Fatu is in complete control. And I want to say he gets Jay down on the mat in a rear chin lock. And Jay eventually kind of fights his way out, kind of using the back elbows to get free. And then Jacob, I think, attempts to clothesline him, and Jay takes out running towards the ropes. But then Fatu hits him with a charging headbutt. And I'm trying to remember when it happens, but there's a point where Jacob just out of the blue yells, "I love you, Solo."
That was several times. That was several
Yeah,
times through the
this
night.
was
My
like,
man
I
was
think,
just
the first time, like, because he's just like,
just
because it's
screaming
so
his love.
yeah, he just randomly, "I love you, Solo," and the whole time he is sticking with that, like the prayer hands. That's his thing. Um, so that's what I mean by, like, he's crazy, but it's for
Yeah.
our entertainment.
Yep.
And and I want to say Jacob then applied like a nerve pinch, like again this like on the trapezius, and then he picks Jay up and just headbutts him down, and uh then he picks Jay up to put him into a fireman's carry position, and I'm thinking, oh man, he's gonna Samoan drop him, right? But Jay fights his way out and sends Jacob shoulder first into the steel ring post. And this is the first time that Jacob has a close encounter with the third man in the match, the steel ring post. Jay then proceeds to unleash a flurry of haymakers, and then he tries to go for a kick, and Jacob blocks it. And let's see. I want to say Jay ends up connecting with a spinning enziguri that drops Fatu into a corner. And so Jay does the running hip attack and gets a 2 count on Jacob. And then Jay hits a kick. Like, I think it was a super kick. No. What was it? Was it the super kick? I think it was a super kick he hits Jacob with, and then Jay, I think, runs towards him, and Fatu catches him in midair, and then Fatu does a just massive swinging Uranagi slam to Jay, and that brings us like from the middle portion of the match into the final portion of this match, and then Fatu did something I have never seen him do. If you're familiar at all with Bianca Belair's like move where she runs off the ropes, steps over a person, and does like a handspring, into a moonsault. Well, Jacob Fatu just did that, and he does that to Jay, and he gets
Yeah.
a 2 count. And we were like, "What the hell?" He just took Bianca Belair's move.
Yeah.
And then he follows that up with his own running hip attack. And again, I think gives another shout out to Solo Sikoa. "I love you, Solo." And while he's busy professing his love, Jay super kicks him. And then I want to say he tried to follow the super kick up with a running attack, but Fatu hits him with the pop up Samoan drop. Like, and it per the usual, it looked just ridiculous and brutal. And he tries to catch the pin on that, only gets a 2 count. And then another thing that I don't recall seeing Fatu do, he climbs up to the top rope, because I'm used to seeing him do his like world's prettiest moonsault is
Yeah. Yeah.
but this is the first time I've seen him just sort of go up to the top rope. So I'm like, oh man, are you gonna hit him with like his own move? Like, are you going to do the Uso splash to him? No, he goes for a swanton bomb. So eat your heart out, Kevin Owens. Um, but Jay gets his knees up, so Fatu pretty much just gets like the back of his head, a whole bunch of knees,
Yeah.
and then from there, as Jacob is kind of trying to recover from that, Jay launches himself out of the corner and spears Jacob Fatu, and then he climbs up and hits the Uso splash, and I'm like, oh, there it is, Jay won, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, no, Jacob Fatu kicks the out, and we're like, what? But that's Jay's whole thing, man. He hit you with a spear in the Uso. I know it's your first singles match, but that's where you're supposed to not kick out.
Oh
And
my god.
so Fatu, after he kicks out, he rolls to the outside. And Jay then delivers a massive suicide dive onto the announce table. And I mean, like, massive. Like, this bent Jacob, like, backwards onto the announce table. And then he kind of rolled off. And then Jay clears the announce table because, to hell with the announce table. And then proceeds to roll into the ring. And I wasn't sure what he was going for. I'm like, at first I thought, okay, are you going to climb up to the top turnbuckle and dive on Fatu? But that wouldn't make sense because he's not on the table. What are we doing? I guess he was just resetting the referee count. And so he rolls out the other side of the ring and comes back around where Jacob Fatu like super kicks the hell out of him. And then Jacob picks him up for a Samoan drop, and he drops him on the announce table. And of course, the announce table did not get the memo.
Yeah, it's
So
like
it
nah.
doesn't collapse. It does not cooperate. So both men are like, brr, because the table wasn't playing along. And Jacob recovers first and then picks up Jay and rolls him back into the ring. And then he takes him to the center of the ring where he hits a beautiful looking impaler DDT. And then he pulls Jay kind of, I want to say more to the middle of the ring because he really launches himself for the, like his double step moonsault. So he hits that on Jay and gets the victory. So between getting slammed into the announce table, getting hit with the impaler DDT, and getting hit with the moonsault, Jay is unable to kick out. And so Jacob Fatu beats Jay Uso clean in the middle of the ring.
Yeah. And it was. Isn't that just feel so right?
It feels so right. It was impressive, and
Yeah.
it's good leading into this because I think everybody is rooting for the OG bloodline, but they're making the I don't know, the upstart Wolfpack new bloodline, whatever you want to call them, Solo's bloodline, look really quite strong. And after the match, Fatu makes his way up the entrance ramp where Solo and the rest of them are all waiting. And he gives a hug to Jacob. And then they all put their ones up as the show goes off the air.
And that may I
You may.
and that I think was a bangarang of a show.
I
Um
agree.
my vote, I think I'd give this a 8.59 easy. Easy. It was fun. It moved smoothly. I mean, the issues that I had with it were so freaking small. The music for Roman Reigns and CM Punk's promo was hella intense. That's the kind of stuff that I have to say about it that's not technically good. So this is easily for me. Just fucking, it was fun, good, top tier. The matches were good. The promos were good. It was good. maybe you guys are probably like confused as to how I feel about this particular this particular episode of Friday Night SmackDown. So just in case, I'm gonna say it again. It was good, top tier.
So, in case I wasn't clear, you're all like, "I love you, SmackDown."
Yes, yes, it was great. It was. I honestly I have nothing seriously bad to say about it.
I completely agree with you. If if a 10 wasn't something I was reserving for like the biggest spots that will be the most memorable in like wrestling historydom, then this would be very close. This is like a
Yeah,
9.8 for me. Um, I don't really have any major quibbles. I mean, I know that we felt like the CM Punk Roman Reigns thing was a little stilted, but honestly, it was only a little,
yeah,
and
yep, yep.
it's a blip on the radar of what was an absolutely kick-ass top tier SmackDown go home show to get hyped up for War Games. Like
Yeah,
everything landed pretty much where it needed to. And you're right, every single match on the card, all four of them. You know, we said it before. If you're only going to have four matches, they better be four badass matches. Well, SmackDown listened.
mm-hmm.
Um, I have nothing but praise for this particular episode, and this is an absolute clinic of building hype for a pay per view. And I say this only as a contrast for how we felt going into Full Gear. And while Full Gear was amazing, the go home show
Yeah,
leading into Full Gear was not. And it did not do much to build up Full Gear at all. So, as an object lesson, AEW and their writers, please take a look at how this particular episode of SmackDown, and generally speaking, the episodes kind of leading up to it, but this particular SmackDown, look at how they built up hype for War Games, because I am psyched for War Games. Like, I am so
yeah.
excited for it. In fact, they took a match that I didn't even give two craps about. I think I said it when we reviewed either last SmackDown or Raw, that it seemed kind of out of nowhere with the Shinsuke Nakamura and there's no heat on it. Well, they changed that and now there is, and we're excited to see that match now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to give it 9.8 neck nubs, which is absolutely top tier.
Yeah. That's a lot of neck nubs.
That do be a lot of neck nubs. And I hate that this is the case, but whenever it's super good, there isn't a whole lot to go on about. So I think that's really just the take home message, that this episode of SmackDown was amazing and did a wonderful job building into the pay per view.
I am in agreement.
So, that said, I want to thank everybody who listened to this episode, and I hope everyone will join us for our next episode, which will most likely be our coverage of. It's either going to be War Games or it's going to be Collision, and I'm not sure which we'll do first, but it'll be
Collision
one of those two.
games.
Collision Games, Warzone. But I hope everybody joins us for either one of those. And that said, there isn't much left for me to do but roll the outro. Oh, one more time.
Aw. Bye, guys.
There it is.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Top Tier Wrestling. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the latest AEW and WWE news and shows. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode. Follow us on social media for updates and to join the conversation. Until next time, everyone, remember, wrestling is always better when it's top tier.